I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is, in my opinion, I am fairly certain that this is not actually about invading a foreign country, which this would be. Using the military as law enforcement in another country without that country's explicit permission, that's an invasion and a declaration of war. And in fact, when the US did basically exactly that in Panama in 1989, the UN said as much and called it a flagrant violation of international law. So yeah, despite the fact that it seems like he's trying to start wars with everyone, I don't think that that's actually the ultimate goal. I do think that a war could be started in the process, but that is not the bad news. That's just part of the good news. The bad news is that I'm pretty sure that this is about this. As you may have heard when it was leaked in the last few days, to absolutely no one's surprise, the Hexeths et al. Have a secret plan for years worth of troops operating on US soil, like what we saw in California. That's the goal, that's the plan, and this is surprising to absolutely no one. Trump said as much in 2024. So, spare me the shock. In that memo, they unsurprisingly make a lot of references to Al-Qaeda, because as you may remember, the war on terror allowed the US government to do some shady things. And that's what they're hoping for in this case. That's why they keep trying to classify gangs as terror organizations, which also, by the way, goes hand in hand with some convenient precedents that they're trying to set in the name of a certain ally in the Middle East. But simply calling or designating them that doesn't actually give the government the power to deploy the military on them. What they need is an actual war. At the very least, approved and totally legitimate military action. And if it's close by or like around the border, that's even better. And that's also why they refer to migration as an invasion. They keep trying to normalize this idea that the people that they want to target are foreign adversaries. But this isn't just about immigrants, because if you're able to start legally treating them as enemy combatants, if you are helping them, you are a traitor. That's treason. So, by the way, it just so happens that 2 weeks ago, right around the time that these secret little meetings were happening for this secret little plan, the administration announced that they're imposing sanctions on Venezuela and Maduro, accusing him of basically being the leader of a cartel/terror organization. Since when does this administration give a hoot about dictators? I think it's possible, and this is where I'm letting my theories run wild. They might be eyeing Maduro as a Noriega stand-in. Noriega was the leader of Panama that they used as an excuse to invade Panama in 1999, because they charged him with basically the exact same things they're accusing Maduro of. And as we know, the US does in fact have a history of creating internment camps where even US citizens are held if they go to war with certain countries and think it's warranted. So, yeah, I'm not saying that this wouldn't provoke a war. I'm just saying I don't think that the war is the point. Happy Friday.